A mall.
All right. Hello.
Welcome to WUFO.
Hello. Let's see. Live. There we go. Do we have anybody here with us yet? We've got 3 people watching, it says. Hello to all of you. We're happy to be here. I'm excited. We have some cool things to share, some cool news and stuff. So,
yeah.
How is everyone handling everything?
I am soup. As I was leaving the soaking pool, I was like, I guess daydreaming like you do, but I was like, what if aliens showed up at, like, just right over this like bubbling hot tub full of naked hippies, and we're just like, the humans are preparing themselves for an offering to the giants. They turn themselves into soup.
You know, I hate to say it, that reminds me of those, like, some were like really racist and some were only borderline racist, but the Bugs Bunny cartoons where like they'd be exploring the jungle and there'd be, you know, like cannibals, and he'd find the giant cauldron of or actually I think there was one with a witch too. And he'd just like climb in and be like, oh, look, somebody has a bath for me, and you know, find a carrot in it and stuff like that. But I was wondering, like, where did they get that cauldron?
There's a similar scene in Muppet Treasure Island.
Yes. Which is underappreciated as far as I'm concerned.
It's one of the good ones. Yeah. And like, yeah, totally underappreciated.
Girl, do you want up or not? Juniper.
I do.
Are you talking to a Muppet?
I am, one of several. Juniper, up. Juniper, stop. Come on.
But I even liked Muppets in Space, so what can I say?
Oh, I love Muppets in Space.
It was good.
I haven't seen any of these Muppet movies at all.
Oh.
Like,
you're missing out.
Do a watch party.
Yeah,
There was a video game released for PlayStation 2 that was called Muppet Racing, and you got to, like, it was kind of like Mario Kart, but you drove through tracks that were like from different sections of the movie, and they would open with like a little video clip, and then you got to like drive around. It was my favorite game. I obsessively played it, and yeah, it got me intimately familiar with the Muppet movies.
That sounds terrific, actually. I like it.
What are you brandishing over there, Jeremy?
Me?
Is that a lighter, or is that a...
No.
Is it a weapon of some kind?
It is not. It's not actually a real weapon, but it is it's a practice butterfly knife.
Oh.
Like, it doesn't have a blade or anything like that. It's just fun to flip around. So I don't have any real butterfly knives. I do have a lot of knives, but no actual butterfly knives. But
you have that,
flip it around.
That like Klingon one too. Like,
yeah, I do.
Does that have a name? That thing?
I don't know. Should I get it?
I don't know. We're gonna get kicked off YouTube for.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Can you show off? I don't see why we would though. Like, aren't there people who like clean old knives and?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Aren't there like racists and Nazis on YouTube?
Right.
All right, I'm gonna go get my weird knives. I'll be right back.
You should show off your new purse, Emily.
Yeah. My God, he does need a name.
It's amazing.
I just picked him up out of my mailbox today. His
I
eyes
want to know,
dark.
What is it? They glow in the dark?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the top is just, it's a pretty spacious purse, actually.
Wow. And Kai, you have...
I have the original undissected.
Yeah.
Safe
Wow.
from the scalpel. This is my freed frog from the science classroom.
That's amazing.
He feels a little misshapen, but I think that will probably be corrected over time.
You just gotta fill him up with innards.
That's true.
He's hungry.
I gotta give him stuff to eat. He's probably gonna come on tours with me, so he'll be busy.
While we're waiting for the knife reveal, maybe we do a snack report. Is anyone holding?
Wait.
I just killed this bag of licorice,
Nice.
Totally awesome.
and I have some old-fashioned root beer barrels.
Ooh. As
Chetty.
reported, I have my chitties.
I
also
have oh, you have more?
have a ball of hippie magic.
What is that?
Soup time.
Well,
Is that from your is that what they did is they cleaned out the hot tub?
Yeah, they scraped out the bottom of the soaking pool and they cheers.
Well, during our excursion this past weekend, which we'll talk about a little bit, we went to DK Market, which is this amazing international foods warehouse near where the oranges are. And I should tell about that experience too that I had.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
But well, yeah, I'll save that for later. But so I got these are my favorites. There's they're pickled wild cucumbers.
Oh man.
And apparently they're not actually wild cucumbers. They're just called that. But they're big in I guess Lebanon and Syria. And they look like this. And they're so good. They're flavored so nicely. I don't know. I don't know. They're so good.
Yeah.
Ooh, they sound like they have good crunch factor.
Mm-hmm.
I approve.
I did get edible dirt.
Oh no, you did it. You got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
How is it? Have you tried it yet, or is this?
Yeah.
Be
I had to let them air out for a day. They actually took on the taste of the container that they were in, so I've had to let them air out. I did try to take a bite of one at one point. That was not great because then my mouth just felt like I had taken a bite of dirt and it was very gritty. But I have discovered that it is actually very satisfying to lick it or just eat the dust, which is also very strange. Maybe I should. I've not tried mud yet. I have not tried making mud from the dirt yet and eating it that way.
My 5-year-old self really needs to make a mud espresso drink and drink it, because I was really good at making those in the sandbox.
That's probably true. I don't know what they did to this dirt to make it more edible than not.
It was after last week or 2 weeks ago when we were on the show, you were talking about how you crave this. And then I saw a video right after that of the queen of shitty robots, this person who used to make these robots that were intentionally terrible ideas. But she was talking about how she has that same craving, and then they were eating this edible dirt. So
it does taste like rain, the way that I would describe the way that rain tastes.
Like it tastes like petrichor?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool.
That's really cool.
I
will try. I would try it. I mean, let's try it.
I'll bring some next time we meet up.
Yes, as Alex says, anything is, you can eat anything once. All mushrooms are edible at least one time.
One time.
I'm wondering, like, is there maybe a dirt buffet? Like there's edible clay, and then there's edible, like, food grade diatomaceous earth. Like,
There definitely is, yeah.
Hmm.
I'll have to dig into it more. I'll have to like find all the different.
Like a dirt buffet. I like it.
Yeah. If there's not, there should be.
Sabretooth Clark, I read your initial comment as dirt has dino nutrients, and I was like, yeah, obviously. And now I'm upset that you have updated it to phytonutrients, because that sounds like science and less like fun.
Dinosaur nutrients, just like crude oil. Crude oil also has dinosaur nutrients.
Full of those delicious dinosaur nutrients.
That's right.
Emily, are you eating, like, do you have a special trowel to eat it with?
No, it's just literally it's just I should get that though. I do have me like for my succulents. I should like put it with my succulent stuff.
I have a bunch of these tiny plastic trowels. I'll bring you one.
That looks like a Lego trowel. Is it a Lego trowel?
No, it's from the while we were on WUFO hiatus, I had to find some other weirdos to hang out with for a while on the internet, and so I got really obsessed with the like mini craft kits that come in like surprise balls. It's from one of their like plant kits.
Nice.
I thought we were in that store that was terrifying at the mall.
Oh yeah,
weekend.
Savvy Boat.
I thought of yeah.
What a weird.
None of those stores are real in that mall. I don't know what those stores are a front for, but none of those stores are real. It's like walking into a video game mall. It's literally like walking into a video game mall, though it feels like it's like or like a mall made up out of like fake stores that you see in Facebook or like Facebook Marketplace or something. You know what I mean? Like something you would buy strictly online that shouldn't like exist in a storefront.
Is it secretly like a mall for The Sims that like somehow humans have hacked into?
That's what it feels like. It's really like one of the stores was literally just like Western store, and it was like all like cowboy hats and like boots. And then the next store was like alpaca store or something. And it was like it was very generic and weird.
I didn't notice this.
You didn't notice that?
No, I guess I was like so out of I don't know how I missed that. I was trying to make sure that Yuki was not getting in trouble. I guess.
You were also following like a child around, and I was not occupied by that, so I was fully in. Like, what is this?
Wow. I did felt lost there for sure. Oh yeah, so we went to the South Center Mall this weekend. Jeremy and Emily and Sierra's family.
And Erica.
Yes.
Oh right, and Erica was there. And we went to go look for this alien communicator that is in the mall. So yeah, that's what we were doing there. And yeah, we found it. It was right next to the Lens Crafters, of all places. Mm-hmm. And it was like a giant wall that had an exhibit, about the Maury Island incident that happened kind of near South Seattle over the island, Maury Island, Vashon Island. And there was this phone booth there that you could like pick up the phone, and it had like this recorded message, and you were supposed to like leave a message for the aliens, and they're going to somehow send it into space.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're doing that, but
did we all tell them to come get us? Did we all leave a message?
I think we all said like, hurry up.
Do you think that the phone booth that you can leave the UFO messages on is connected to the phone booth to the universe that you explored with Jim Ferry?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have a thing. I'm into phone booths for sure, and I'm curious if this one will work the same. I don't know.
Like, are they connected by the World Weird Web in some sort of
cosmic sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was cool though. Do you guys know about the Mojave Desert phone booth? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Oh, like this was like an old internet thing. Like I think the late 90s, early 2000s. Someone found this phone booth in the Mojave Desert, just like, unattended. There's nothing else around. And they had the number of the phone booth. So they took it and they went home and they just kept calling it every once in a while. And they just kept calling it and calling it. And one day someone picked up. And then they I don't know, they wrote about that. And then people started driving out to the Mojave Desert phone booth to go see it. And other people were always calling. And it became this thing where people were like calling and trying to get random strangers to like pick up the phone. And it was like a whole thing, and now it's gone. But it was like a little early internet meme. I don't know. I love the idea of it. I think it's so cool.
It feels very much aligned with the actually touch graphs movement.
Right, totally. Yeah. I'll see if there's anything about it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's a whole Wikipedia if you go look it up. I may have some details wrong, but that's how I remember it.
Well, and you also found the special phone booth at that campground you were at, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
We did that out.
Amazing. That was so good.
Yeah, we did that on WUFO one night. Because you go to that one, it's in Seaview, I think is the town. And there's a place there called the Southwester where you can stay in these old vintage travel trailers. It's really cool. And you can there's like a VHS library, and you can we watched Gorillas in the Mist. You can take VHS and bring it back to your trailer and watch them on your VHS player in the VCR, in the trailers. It's awesome. But there's a phone booth there that is like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. And it's really scary.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And you have to pick your choices on the thing. And we all did it collectively on WUFO. It was great.
Karen might have a source on phone booth numbers that are still in operation, and that is so exciting.
That's cool. We have to talk later. You know, when I was in high school too, my friends and I, we'd stay after school and we were bored and there was a phone booth and we'd just call 1-800 numbers. And there was this one, I can't say what it is because I don't want to get in trouble, but we would call and it had like a whole phone tree and we would leave voicemails on people's all the time and just be like stupid kids, leaving these it wasn't mean stuff. It was just weird, trying to be poetic, talking about life. But we do it all the time. They must have gotten so annoyed with us. I don't know. And it felt like magic. I love phone booths.
That feels really reminiscent of I remember when I was a kid, you used to be able to call the library and they had a special dedicated line that would have a story that changed, maybe not every day, maybe once a week or something. Or those lines you could call to just be the time is now 12:35 at the chime. Bong.
The Seattle Public Library used to have, and I'll have to see if they still have it because it was really neat. You could call their reference desk, and they had a answering machine. And this was before the internet was as prevalent as it is now. But you could ask any question you wanted to, and someone would call you back with an answer.
Wow!
I feel like email kind of works that way today. I emailed the librarians in my hometown to be I'm looking for some stuff on this. And they were so helpful and they were so excited to have a question that was kind of interesting. I also reached out to some folks about trying to find information, newspaper stories from a Bigfoot flap that happened when my mom was in high school in Springfield, in the Springfield area of Illinois, and there was a fire, and so the only place that maybe has the record, like even microfilm or microfiche of the newspaper from that specific time period, is the Abraham Lincoln Library. And so I'm like biding my time to craft a really good email to get them to look for Bigfoot stuff in their archives for me.
Amazing.
That's great.
Librarians are wonderful. We need to get Courtney back here. Speaking of librarians,
Absolutely.
For sure. I found. Do you want to see the? You want to see my knives? So here's the deal. When I was a little kid, I was not allowed to buy knives, which of course, but I lived in Florida, and so all of my friends did not have this same restriction. So we would go to the St. Johns County flea market, which was amazing. It's gone now, but it was the best flea market in the whole universe. You used to be able to get a 5-gallon bucket like Trader Joe's, Home Depot, like the orange 5-gallon ones, full of like raw oysters for like $5 that they had just collected that day. And anyhow, that's the kind of classy place this was. But I would always go there with this friend of mine, and he was like, his family was big into like unusual weaponry. Like he'd get throwing stars. There was always a booth at the flea market, sometimes two, and they had like throwing stars and throwing knives and like katanas, and like every time we went, he'd be like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna get a few more shurikens today." Like, it was just this, and I was always like, because I was 10, so I was like, "Man, I can't buy a throwing star. That sucks." So it struck me now. It was kind of like that thing with like, oh yeah, you can, now that you're a grown up, you can eat cookies for dinner if you want. I was like, I could buy like really weird knives if I want to now. I have no idea what I would use them for. Like, look at this one. So this is the one you were talking about. So you can see here, and then these open, and it does this. And like, I would die if I tried to use this like functionally as a knife or something. I would slice off my finger. I mean, there is literally no use for this outside of like maybe a Klingon battle.
You need to spend more time in the Hollow Suite training, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. But I also have like, so there's this one. Look, dragon claws. And then I got this, and I've actually used it out in my garden a couple of times. It's like, and this is a functional one. It's just really pretty, and it actually works really well. It's very sharp.
If the Grim Reaper were an ultralight backpacker, I feel like that is the tool.
Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, my neighbors are cool, and they know how weird I am, so it's all good on that end of things. But a Kroll weapon. I remember a Kroll. Is this movie? Do you remember that?
No, what is that?
It's like an 80s weird, cheesy sci-fi adventure movie called Kroll, and he had this weapon called the glaive, and it was this like disc that you threw it, and like 5 knives came out of it as it spun through the air, and it was like, he's got the glaive. And everybody wanted a glaive, so
somebody needs to do a remix of that song, She's Got the Look, but with He's Got the Glaive.
So I do have one that's so last one, and it's really cool. So this one, this is a World War II like military American US, like, I don't know what you call it. It's not a bayonet, but so this was actually my grandfather's, like on my dad's side, when he like stormed the beaches at Normandy. He was on one of those like landing craft, that look like a big bathtub, and then it comes down, and like they got hit immediately, so he had to like scavenge for things to allow him to survive. And this is one of the things he pulled off a body. And it's interesting because I don't know if you'll be able to see it on this camera, but you can see there's like something scraped into it. It says Tex.
Yeah.
And it's got it's the ranch brand Rocking A. And there's actually a couple more places where that's scraped in. So a while back, I did some research and I found out that there is a Rocking A. So I actually wrote them and I told them the story, and they said they didn't want it back, but it was actually one of their relatives who,
oh wow,
was in the war, who actually also survived. So somehow,
oh wow,
he got back. So that's the coolest knife story that I have. And now I have this. My dad gave me that.
I was gonna say that seems like it's probably just as haunted as the Linda Hazard brick that you've got at home.
Yeah.
But I would say that Linda Hazard's brick is probably more haunted, given
her predilections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, lately on my tours, it hasn't happened in a couple of weeks. Maybe I appropriately apologize to Linda. But I, for a while, for like 2 months almost, was getting hiccups every time I got to Kells. And like I would try to get through my speech about Linda, like fighting hiccups off while I'm talking about this really serious subject matter. And every time I was like, it's Linda. Linda doesn't want me to talk about her, so now I have hiccups.
Yeah.
But you've solved the problem?
I think so. It hasn't happened in a couple of weeks at least. So maybe I went over and I told Linda I was sorry. And I didn't mean I did have somebody once on my tour. I had one guy, we were like on the second floor, and this guy was like, I can hear ghosts, and I haven't really heard from anybody tonight until we got here. And Linda's really upset with you because she doesn't like the narrative that you've presented. And I was like, well, it's Linda's narrative, so like I can't really, like, if she would like to point me in a direction. I mean, like maybe her husband was involved in a lot of the forgery, but that's so when I threw her husband under the bus as well, apparently that made Linda very happy. Apparently Linda was like, you're right, it was also that guy's fault. So I have no idea, but I was like, girl, I can't change the narrative that much. That's what you did. Like that's how
the whole situation was so much like more. It was like she was all over the place.
Oh yeah,
like she was like a Seattle socialite almost. I mean, that's everybody knew everybody, and so she's in all the papers and stuff as like concerned citizen Linda Hazard thinks that blah blah blah. If you look back far enough, and
I think that she should appreciate me because I've been telling all of my tour groups that she was the Gwyneth Paltrow of her day.
That's good. That's fair.
Very goofy.
Yeah, I remember I found some article from her where she was talking about how she didn't believe in the plague that the rats of Seattle were giving, and that she would volunteer to like lick something, because of her like strong constitution, she could handle it or something. It was something like really weird, and people were like, "What?"
Crazy.
Yeah.
Now I have to read more. Now I'm gonna like have to read.
I'll find it. I'll find it and show you.
That doesn't surprise me. Did you know? I mean, one of the only things, this is not to take a turn into history, but it's really interesting to me that even if you read, there is not a single piece of paper or like research or anything anywhere that suggests that anyone died in the Seattle fire. Not one person. Mm-hmm. But somehow they do very specifically say that 2 million rats died.
Whoa.
So they counted 2 million rats that died because they publicized that very heavily after the Seattle fire. They were like, look, we're going to rebuild and it's going to be great. And also we killed 2 million rats. So there's no plague. So they like really turned it. And it's fascinating to me because I just, there's no way that not one person anywhere in any capacity, no one, I don't know. Maybe that, because that's pretty miraculous when you consider that it burned for 24 hours. That's something that I've never.
And they didn't have any kind of mass early warning systems or anything.
Nope.
I'm thinking about the LA fires that are, that have been happening, and like that math doesn't math.
Right. And
go ahead.
The interesting thing that I find about it is because like even the historical people aren't like, well, maybe, and they just weren't on the records. Because that's what I think probably happened, is that there were a lot of people that weren't on the records that died, that they were just like,
Right.
Well, and it's possible, you know, without, I'm not exactly sure what the timeline of forensic pathology is, but like it's very possible that it could be very challenging to even like make sense of whether there was a person in the structure.
Yeah, that's true.
But people back in Seattle during at that time, like white European people, were stupid. They made some very, very like boneheaded design decisions when they were like first, building up the city. Like they had so the sewer pipes were made of wood, of course.
Yeah,
many of them were, and they still are. And they just drained out into the sound, of course. And what they didn't take into account is whenever there was like a king tide, it would push everything back up the pipes. And so there were these houses, like of these rich people's houses up on the hills, where like every now and again you're sitting on the toilet and all of a sudden, oops.
Yeah, it would explode. Yeah, your toilet would explode. That's one of my biggest talking points on the tour, is that everybody is always really fascinated by that. And that's really why Seattle was designed so poorly at its inception that when it burned down, everyone was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe for the best.
Yeah.
That's true.
We'll fix it.
Exactly.
That guy did not get in any trouble, the guy that burned the entire city down, because they were like, well, this is probably for the best anyway. Like,
yeah,
we'll fix it.
Yeah. And now it's still down there. It's the underground. Like you can go tour it if for our viewers who might not know. And you can actually see like the old walls and stuff like that, because they just built right on top of it, which to me was weird. It's like, that means you're still going to be on top of stuff that's not stable, right? I mean, I don't know.
A lot questionable. It's because there were so many men in charge, and it's also because Madame Lou died when she was 42 or something, and I think if she had lived longer, we would have probably figured things out.
I think so.
Yeah.
Can you tell, like, for people who don't know,
for who Madame Lou is?
Yeah, awesome.
Oh, incredible! Like I think she would have taken over the world. Madame Lou was one of our premier brothel owners. She was. I know Eric and I have been having a moment today with just too many men being around. That's why so Madame Lou owned like the premier brothel, like one of the oldest brothels in Seattle. The oldest brothel in Seattle, and she was like that brothel was so important to people that you actually could not do business in Seattle unless you could say what the inside of Madame Lou's looked like. And she ran things so well that her brothel was unionized. It was the only brothel that was ever unionized in the U.S. She also was single-handedly keeping the Seattle economy running, because most of the rich families in Seattle would take loans out from her instead of from the banks, because she was able to offer them a better deal than the banks. When the banks would start to shut down, she would show up with bags of cash in her like black horse-drawn carriage and just throw bags of cash through their front doors and then move on. And then when she died, her like entire fortune essentially went to the Seattle government for the foundation of the public school system. So the reason that we had a public school system as early as we did is because it was entirely funded by the brothels. My favorite tidbit about Madame Lou is that there was a raid on her brothel at one point, and there was a new police officer who didn't know what he was getting into that accidentally arrested Madame Lou. And the city was so mad that the mayor had to resign, even though he didn't have anything to do with the raid at all. He had to like apologize and step down that anyone had upset Madame Lou. So she was like really running business, but then she died of syphilis in her early 40s. So, because that was the time period, right? So I always wonder what would have, she was really running the city. She had the money under control. We were unionized. She was the first building that was rebuilt after the fire. Like,
was she a white lady?
Yeah, I think so.
She
I
was,
believe so.
she was German. She was from Germany. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
I'm obsessed with her, and I'm not sure why there isn't like a movie. Her and Nellie Curtis, who I talk about a lot at my tour as well, was another brothel owner that really turned things around in the city because she had her brothel so under control that she was like controlling the economy herself. Like those two women in particular, I don't know why no one has ever done like a documentary or. And Nellie's really strongly around. Nellie haunts like half the buildings in downtown Seattle. Madame Lou does not. I have not heard of Madame Lou appearing anywhere, but Nellie is around a lot.
We need to go do some stuff there.
yeah.
Go talk to these folks.
Do you know about the Umbrella Hat Man?
No.
This is one of the coolest old-timey Seattle characters too. So he was this guy, Robert Patton. And I just, because I'm talking about Seattle eccentrics, made me think of him. And he was around the same time, like he died in 1913. And he was just this dude with a big beard who lived on a houseboat in Lake Union. And he was famous because he wore a hat with an umbrella on top of it. Like it was just like him in the hat. And he was just this really interesting, weird, eccentric guy. And he was like, he would tell stories about how he was, on the trail with Buffalo Bill and this and that. But he was so famous that they made a newspaper comic of him. Like Crazy Cat style, kind of. And it's really funny. And he's like, he reminds me of Emperor Norton almost in a lot.
Yeah.
From San Francisco. Right around the same time too. And they were just like eccentric.
I am looping us back to a while ago, but Sierra made a comment that the trees with a phone on them that you can talk to like loved ones who have passed are called wind trees, which I didn't, or wind phones, which I didn't know. But there's one in Olympia Park that's on my list of places to go visit. But maybe we should go
on my list because Jeremy and I had an old friend from like when we used to blog like 20 years ago. He was someone we do stuff with, and then kind of lost touch. But the last thing he sent me was a link to that one of the one in Olympia that people would go to talk to loved ones, and then he died shortly after that.
Oh no!
So I've been wanting to go there and try to talk to him because he like left a message. It was like his dad wrote to me and said like that he had passed away. And then I went to go look to see if anything was on his Facebook, and I saw that he had sent me a message that I didn't see of the wind phone in Olympia, which is pretty wild. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to go there. Actually, it's on my list. We should go do that. That's a good meeting spot.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe what we could do is, Kai, if you ever come up, we could go down and meet you there, and then caravan back.
Yeah, I'm down to clown.
Yeah.
Well,
I found that article about Linda Hazard.
Yeah.
It says Dr. Leonard Kofer, marine hospital expert with a corps of able assistants, has been waging relentless war on the rats of Seattle. About 50,000 have been killed as a precautionary measure against bubonic plague. Whereupon comes forward Dr. Linda Hazard of Seattle. This part's messed up. And with the usual perversity of her sex, so because she's crazy.
Rude.
But she is. I mean, she is crazy.
Yes, she is, yeah.
To be fair, but it says, declares her willingness to eat any bubonic plague germs that can be found in the city. So she like was, I think she's like a health nut, so she thinks she can like eat the bubonic plague and survive it. I don't know. I found this in some old newspaper prior to the whole Starvation Heights thing, obviously.
Yeah, because she was really against food. She really was against food. You can actually buy her book, but her book now starts with like an entire chapter that's like, do not under any circumstance do this. And if you did not understand the first time that I said this, here's another phrase that just says, do not under any circumstances do this. Also, if you didn't understand the first 2 times I said that, do not do this at all. This woman was not correct. So, which is just so interesting to me because it's very clear that like it's crazy. But that's so interesting that she would maybe she did eat a plague rat at some point and then was like, I will never do anything again.
Yeah, I don't...
That would probably be my reaction.
Was that?
Can you post a link in the private chat? I've been blue skying all of our links to all of our references. So
okay. It's more of a picture, but
Olympia. I don't know where anything is ever. There is a mermaid museum in Aberdeen. Aberdeen is by Olympia, correct?
It's more out by the coast.
Okay. I want to go to the mermaid museum.
But we could go to Aberdeen. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
mermaid. It's a mermaid museum? Is that what you...
Yeah, it's the International Mermaid Museum that's in Markham.
I feel like maybe there's an adventure in order where we hit the Mermaid Museum and then all meet up at the Mermaid Party in Portland. Do you know that there's like a whole thing where people like swim and the Willamette and there's like a whole mermaid thing?
Garrett, weren't you there at
No.
one point? You have a TikTok video of you and some mermen or something.
That's the mermen of Anacortes. It's like a little society. Okay. Yeah, and I was like on a boat searching for them. I don't know what that whole scene is. I think it's a different thing.
Yeah. It was cool though.
Yeah.
It looked like so much fun.
Okay, folks. This year in Portland, July 25th, 26th, and 27th will be the Portlandia Mermaid Parade and Festival.
Oh,
presented by Una the Mermaid.
Let's get it on the calendar now. And we'll get some of our listeners and other friends from places too.
Yeah, I think that this is the year to go do more things out, touch grass, hang out with mermaids.
Yeah.
For sure.
Now we remodeled the Curtis Hotel in Aberdeen. Now we got to go to Aberdeen for sure.
So speaking of doing more things with friends. Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick, over by Aberdeen is one of the locations of the place that we've never investigated, which is the disappearing pizza place.
Oh yeah,
and the Gotten Puffs, where they went and I don't know, I can't remember the full story. There's like supposedly this family went and they went to this weird restaurant and they were trying to push them to buy Gotten Puffs, which is some kind of weird thing, and all the brands in the store were wrong, and then they ended up that they went back and that place was gone, and as if it had never existed. So I'm abbreviating the story, but that's a place that's over kind of by, one of the locations we think it might be is over by Aberdeen. So
yeah,
we should go there.
Did you look for Gotten Puffs in the mall? Because I feel like with all those weird off-brand shops, you could have found them maybe.
Right.
True.
Hi, Sarah.
Sarah!
So I was going to say, because I know we wanted to announce it, that speaking of like hanging out with friends and doing more and stuff like that, we have a couple of awesome special guests coming up.
Oh yeah, you should
Super excited. Yeah. So thanks to Ciara and Kai, we have, this is actually kind of a big deal, on February 12th, Steve Berg is coming on.
Of the podcast High Strangeness and
exactly
many other delightful comedic bents.
Yes, and so that is really exciting. And equally exciting is there's not the date's not here. Was it the
It's like the 26th ish. I didn't want to mess it up again.
It is the 20. It is the 26th. It is the 26th. Yes, on the 26th of February, we are going to be joined by, and this is really exciting because we've kind of wanted to have her on since like the beginning of WUFO, but Amanda Paulson.
Yeah.
So
that's exciting.
That's really cool.
I really, really want to watch her new documentary, Lady of the Lake, and I haven't seen it yet. And I feel like maybe in like celebration / preparation, maybe on Ye Olde Discord, we could do a documentary movie night, like in preparation.
Yeah. That's an excellent idea. Yeah. Yeah, the three of us were actually at the premiere.
Yeah, I think it's changed since we saw it. Was that the first time that we met in person?
It might have been.
It might have been, yeah.
Do you know what's always really funny to me is that I trust you guys so implicitly. This might also be because I'm stupid, but you just like showed up and I got into your car with like no second thoughts. I was like, yeah, these two guys are gonna come pick me up. Let's go. It'll be great. It was just like getting into a stranger's car with no.
Did we meet at the McMenifin UFO Fest before you met Garrett and Jeremy?
Yeah,
that's right. Yes,
that's funny.
Did we? And we met on purpose because Sierra, I just like found. Sierra was like, "That's who I'm looking for." I don't know what it was about Sierra that I was just like, "That's my person that I need." Like knew it immediately upon looking at Sierra, but I think I actually had to like. We had each other's numbers. We should do that again this year, the festival.
My mother has been texting me. My mom actually, in a heartwarming move, sent me a picture of an actual physical newspaper that had a story about the passport gender markers and was like, "Is this impacting you?" And I was like, Look at you. It's very heartwarming. You know, for reasons that we don't need to get into. But apparently her Halloween theme this year is going to be alien invasion, and she's thinking about coming out to Oregon to do some rock hounding on the coast. And I was like, well, if you schedule around McMiniman's UFO Fest or the Chehalis Flying Saucer Festival, you get some good props.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And in August, the apparently Burien is going to do their UFO festival again.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
It was.
Emily and I and Erica and my kiddo tabled there, and we met a lot of really interesting and fun people. So
that one seems
like, the organizers were. I think it was so new that there were a lot of like, we're going to put you here. No, then we're going to put you here, and but ultimately it worked out really well. So.
That one seems like a cute, wholesome one to get plugged into. But I also think it might be fun to get a table at McMiniman's UFO Fest. I don't know how much it is, but
yeah,
we could collect stories for the map or do all sorts of fun.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Kai and I pinpointed a man who we immediately were like, that man is a time traveler. Like, that is not a real individual, like, human person. Because he was just so weird, and he was everywhere all the time. It was like every corner you turned, that guy was there. And we were like, what's happening? Who is this man? Why is he wearing, like, a purple suit?
Yes. I think I probably still have video of the time traveler. I also think I have a video of the entire parade.
Oh,
including Whitley Strieber's ridiculous face.
Whitley Strieber was so like upset to be in this parade. He was just like, why am I here? Oh,
It made it worth being in the same space as him, honestly.
yeah.
See how unhappy he was.
It's because he's an awful person.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is my like association with Whitley Strieber is always going to be the cover of Communion.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, but he had nothing to do with that. Like that
Yeah.
wasn't even him. That was an artist that, you know, the publishing company probably hired to do the cover or something. And now, like, so if he didn't have, if that image did not exist, I think he would not be as popular as he is now.
No.
Just the cover of the book.
In the other timeline in which that book has a completely different cover, he's like a non-entity.
Or he's like good. He's
Oh.
Oh my God, we have evil Whitley Strieber, and somewhere out in the universe, there's the Glenda the Good Witch Whitley.
Probably, yes. Speaking of watching things on Discord,
Yeah.
Garrett, you want to talk about?
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna do this exactly, but I thought it'd be cool if we watched Twin Peaks as a group. I know I just saw there's a couple people that are watching it for the first time, and someone on Blue Sky, that person like Ichabod, I don't know how to say their name. They mentioned that you can watch it for free right now on Pluto TV.
Mm-hmm.
So, because usually you have to pay for like Paramount or something, or steal it or whatever. But I thought we could somehow do like a watch party. I love experiencing it with people who have never seen it before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do that exactly. We're kind of talking about it in the Discord. I don't know.
Well, one thing is we could do is like have it be more of a like discussion group kind of thing. Because I think like getting everybody at the same time to watch it all at the same time can be tricky.
Yeah.
And I would hate for somebody to like miss out because
they can't.
You can't. Yeah, you can't.
We could have two channels, like one that's kind of a live text, like, okay, we're gonna try it, like folks are gonna watch it this time if you can, like there's gonna be spoilers in here. And then we could have another one that's like, okay, like we're trying to watch an episode a week, so don't post any spoilers in here until Sunday morning, and that's when we'll have like our group discussion. Or I don't know, I mean, maybe I'm overthinking this whole thing.
Yeah,
you could do like voice channels on Discord.
Oh.
You could do a voice channel and have like a ton of people talking all at the same time. So for like an actual watching session, that could be one way to do it.
I think there is an actual way for you to host like, because you can watch people play video games, and I feel like people have kind of figured out how to host watch parties in there, although I think that they try not to let you do it, you know, to piggyback off of one person streaming to a wider audience. But I feel like that's a thing that was happening at least a few years ago.
Yeah.
I was also thinking book club, Sarah.
What's that?
Oh,
book club.
Book club. Yeah. This week we're watching this episode, and then we're going to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But one a week is too not enough.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, that's true.
It's like
take us a long time. If we did it that way.
So painful. Oh my god, I couldn't do it.
Okay, I won't do it to you. I just threw out a random thing.
I will, and we just watched The Return, the newest one that came out like every week, and I remember just like, oh my god. Oh, it's like I think about is like the next week. Yeah, and it was so hard.
I read something a while back sorry, no sources to send to Blue Sky on this one. It's just in my brain Rolodex. About how commercials, like back when we didn't like stream everything, when you had regular commercial breaks, it actually kind of makes you appreciate the program more because you like are forced to take the like it almost kind of Pomodoro affects you a little bit into like you're like paying attention to the thing and like then you like get this kind of 3-minute break of like delicious anticipation, but you also are like given a little break from it.
So there's a way to do it.
Okay.
Cool. Well, let's look into that. And then announce, I don't know, maybe on the Discord tomorrow we can talk about
When to start.
like, when to start. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many we do want to.
Yes.
Also, one every night might be a little like intense. So
Yeah, we need a happy medium between those.
Yeah. I do think though, like the idea of like a couple episodes and then that's all we talk about, and don't spoil it until this date, and then we can all talk about it.
yeah.
Yeah. We could do something like that.
And also, I think we should probably, like, just to make it equitable, like just the content that's on Pluto, like, because I have like the 100 disc like deluxe deep with all the Log Lady intros and all this stuff, and but like I think if you watch it first the way that it appeared originally, like on network TV,
Right.
then you get the excitement of like, oh, there's like lore I can go investigate, like that's
Right. Yeah.
instead of just having it all there at once.
I don't, if I recall correctly, I've never watched the Fire Walk with Me, the film, and I think I only made it like part the way through the series because I think I signed up for Paramount or whatever it was on to be able to watch it, and then like I got distracted and then my trial expired or whatever, and I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
Wow. This will be exciting.
We've only made it.
I think we should probably like let people know, like if you haven't seen it, like as a content warning.
That's
like,
true too. It's
a lot of like there's violence and there's abuse and like violent abuse and but my understanding is that most like the scuttlebutt that I've heard is that like some people who are survivors of abuse had said that he did it like in an okay way. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's not like gratuitous. How about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. I can't speak to that. Anyhow.
There is content warning for sure.
But yeah, content warning for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have more about that. What else is there?
I haven't even really like finished processing David Lynch's death, I think.
I know. Did you I did the Monday meditation.
Yes.
Did anyone else do that? You did that too, right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Yeah, like David Lynch's family would like had like a wish to like have people meditate at noon, like that Monday, like of the inauguration, that same time.
Because it was his birthday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, it was really the perfect day for it.
I went a little long. I kind of stayed in it
because he was biggest into transcendental meditation.
Mm-hmm.
That was his like bag. But I didn't, but I think they just meant like anybody who wants should meditate. So.
Do you? I'm not up on my meditation stuff, what makes transcendental meditation meditation, if you know?
It's kind of more of a like, I don't know. It's not like, I wouldn't go as far as to say necessarily that it's a cult, but there's like a guru who gives you mantras, and it's been around for a long time. Like it came out of that whole autobiography of a yogi era, like theosophist, making like Orientalist, basically, that era. But you get this mantra and you say it, it's a magic word, and that's what you focus on while you meditate. And then they're also known for like psychic flight, like meditating. Like, have you heard of this? You might have seen videos where they're in the lotus position while they're meditating, and they're bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. And the idea is that they start like flying, and eventually, if you reach perfect enlightenment or whatever, you can actually fly that way or something. And it costs, you're not allowed to tell anybody the secret word, and you have to pay, to find out what your word is and all that stuff. So
it's definitely a cult.
Yeah, well, one of our friends, Tim, was talking about getting into transcendental meditation, but like not by joining the cult, just using their methodology. And the word he chose as his mantra was like sombrero, I think. And he said it works perfectly. He's just like, I like, after a while, it just does the trick.
Yeah. I like the I don't know if y'all listen to Sounds Like a Cult. It's a great podcast. But they recently they have a ranking system. There are live your life cults, there are watch your back cults, and there get the heck out cults. And I appreciate that nuance to the cultiness.
So they go through, they rate different cults.
Yeah, so they have done things from the cult of Sephora to the cult, to legitimate, cults. It's great. Amanda Montell wrote a book. She's written a couple of books, but one of them is cultish, I believe, that kind of looks into yeah.
Did I ever tell you I was in that cult band I did like some shows with the Yehovah 13. Do you know about them? They're like a cult from California. They had a cult leader named Father Yod, Yod, in like the 60s. And everyone, they all had Aquarius names. They were all given Aquarius names. And they had a restaurant in Southern California that's in Annie Hall, that movie by Woody Allen. When Woody Allen comes out and they're eating, it's like a natural raw food restaurant.
It's famous, isn't it? Like, yeah. It's like everybody ate there.
Yeah. So it's like the Source family, like that was their restaurant, and Father Yod was the leader. And part of their religious practice was to wake up at like 5 a.m. in the morning and smoke weed and just jam out and make up music. And they had like a rock band. And Father Yod played these giant timpanis. You should look them up. It's amazing. And they made records. They made all these cool records that are super out there. And then I met Jin Aquarian, who was the guitar player, and he started playing shows up here, and I played timpani, and I got an Aquarian name. I'm Poseidon Aquarian. So I'm technically part of the cult now, I guess. It was pretty awesome, though. It was really cool. My friend Shayna, who's in that band La Luz, she was in it too. She played timpani with me. Yeah, it was really great.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's all about like improv and like, jamming out for God. It was pretty cool. It was pretty good.
But they're not like that's that. I mean, categories
there's
like a live your life.
I think for the most part, there's a little bit of scandal. But I think that's just, I don't know. It's just with people, is there going to be problems? Father Yo died in a hang gliding accident, and that was the end of it. But they're still like, I think there's a documentary. Most of the people like thought it was positive, and they don't have any negative. There's a couple people that are mad about stuff, but
yeah. I mean, I think transcendental meditation is probably similar to that. I mean, it's not like Scientology or something. Like people know what they're getting into when they're doing it, and if it worked so well for David Lynch, like, great. So,
I think Sting also does transcendental meditation.
Sting?
Yeah. There was a period of time where I knew far too much about Sting for a teenage girl, but
I wonder if because Sting was in Dune with David Lynch. I wonder if
he taught. Maybe that's a fair point. Sting lives near Stonehenge now.
Oh,
so I always wonder. He seems like he's probably out there during the solstices.
That's cool.
That is.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
No,
you. Probably going to say the same thing.
Questions and answers?
Yeah. I've actually.
Whoa!
I missed this whole text thread. So I don't even really I kind of kept myself in the dark on purpose.
Oh, well.
Great.
We don't know what we're doing with it either.
Oh.
I just found this book that Amber had that unfortunately has some racist stuff I found in it. It's like an old book about like the surrealists. So there's some stuff and some sexist stuff in here. So I don't necessarily recommend it. But there were like some games in here that were like word games that I thought were interesting. And one of them was just like having people come up with questions, and then other people come up with answers, and then like fitting them together randomly, And so the examples were like, let's see if I can find it. The question would be, what is reason? And then randomly pick one of the answers. It says a cloud eaten by the moon. So it's just like a way to have, I don't know. It's like like exquisite corpse and all those kinds of things where it's like, and so I thought, oh, what if we used it as like a giant magic 8-ball or something, and like of these like bizarre answers. Like we could have a that's what I was imagining, is like giant database of answers, so that you could just like, I need an answer to my question. You push a button and they get one of these random answers. I think that would be so cool.
Like the old "What the fuck should I eat tonight" website.
Yeah.
Does it just have like a random recipe or something, or what is it?
Yeah, and you could say, "I don't fucking like that," and it would like generate you a new one. And it was just like stuff from like all recipes or whatever, but it was kind of great.
Right.
There are ancient Greek and Roman texts that are that. Like the Sibylline, like the Roman Sibylline oracles, I think. It's just like it's
Right. I remember you telling me about this a little bit.
Yeah. It was like just like 100 or 200 just like answers, and then the oracle would from the book.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if we could do any. I wondered if we could, if you could do like a contact session through that, or just pose some. I don't know. I don't know what we should do with it. I have a thing though that will pick at random from this list of answers. So,
how many answers do we have
right now? There are. Oh, there's even more. 85.
Whoa.
Yeah. There was like about 25 of them that were just the number 42, so I deleted all those. But so we had more, but
I was one of those. Sorry.
yeah,
It was
no,
really obvious. And
I left one.
Part of the reason that it popped into my head was that I recently read something, probably on Blue Sky, about how 42 is code for an asterisk. And so there's actually kind of like another layer to the joke of it being essentially like, etc.
Interesting.
That's really weird because I just started rereading those books.
Huh.
The Hill Hitchhiker's Guide. Because we just watched the movie like as a family on a family movie.
The modern movie is so bad.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like it was so like what?
I walked out of the theater. I was so excited about it. And I walked out of the theater.
A couple other performances were okay, I thought. But
I will literally sit through
the mixed up the plot and Arthur and Trillian getting together and
Sam Rockwell all the way. I will sit through anything for Sam Rockwell at any time.
I thought he did a pretty decent They Fought People.
So Douglas Adams actually partnered with the BBC to do a radio adaptation of it, and they later turned that radio script into a series. It's much better. Just skip the modern movie and watch those.
It is. No, I concur. I agree completely. Or the radio shows are hilarious too.
Absolutely.
Well worth listening to. That's interesting though. That's totally a like synchronicity for me.
Oh, also, I think that I don't know if I'm going into this. I heard something about like Elon's car up in space has like started returning into orbit or something. Do you know how he like launched that car?
Yeah, that stupid car.
And I think it says "Don't panic" inside the car. That's why I brought it up.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that like somehow it's maybe falling back into Earth's orbit.
Cool.
Anyway, yeah. So that's another synchronous.
Just some more space junk to go with all of his exploding rockets and the other space junk.
Oh yeah, it says mystery asteroid in Earth's orbit that baffled experts turns out to be Elon Musk's car.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up, but
no, it's funny because like I get to laugh at him. Turd. So how should we?
But I do love that ICE had to shut down their phone lines because so many people were calling to report the same turd as an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
It's the good kind of mischief I appreciate.
Well, yeah, I don't know how we could use this if we want to try something, but or we could do it another time.
Somebody ask us a question in the chat.
There are how many?
85. Here, 85. I'll post the if you want to add more I could add more answers right now.
So how could we generate a random number between 1 and 85?
I have a thing that will do that already. We'll just pick one at random.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't realize that. Yeah, so we just need
we just need questions now. We need something that we're questioning. And then if people go there, they can add more right now, live. Add more answers. But
should we find out what the top question on Google search is right now?
Yeah, that's good. I don't know if I want to know what that is, but we'll see.
How do you find out? Oh, here we go. Do you know what the number one top question searched for on Google in 2024 was as of January 2nd? Guess.
I don't know.
Is it
What
something like?
time is it? What time is it?
Oh,
It's like
Okay,
the
well-
whole of human knowledge at your fingers.
Well, the answer to that is like the pouring of a viscous fluid,
Ooh, I like that.
which that reminds me of Twin Peaks. The like slow coffee coming out like syrup.
Yeah.
There's a scene where it's doing that. Hope that's not. I don't think that's a spoiler, but it's just like an image of coffee coming out like real slow, like molasses or something.
Mhm.
I
Um,
must be looking at a different article than you, Jeremy, because I've got some other questions for us.
Kaima soup and Kaya soup as well. Kai was saying that they were soup earlier when they were
Right, that's right.
in a bathtub or in the hot
The soaking
spa.
soaking pool, yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody who's watching like have a question? Like, definitely.
Yeah. Any question?
Any question?
We'll ask
One
the
of the
answer
most
database.
globally asked questions. I'm going to skip the first two because they're boring, which are what is my IP and what to watch. The third most asked question globally of Google is what dinosaur has 500 teeth? And I would like to know the answer according to this oracle.
A small decorative vessel for storing heirloom turnips.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
Alex wants to know how do I fix my code?
How do you fix your code? Let's see. Everyone concentrate, think real hard. And the Oracle presents the word 11.
It's spelled out.
Yeah,
Just 11?
11. That's it.
Wow.
that
I
seems
hope
fair.
that helps, Alex.
Ask it what kind of job I should look for.
What kind of job should Emily look for?
Have you consulted the job cat, Emily?
No, I need to.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. This is a good one. Babe the big blue ox, along with some rogue beavers of regular size.
Kai, did you put that in there? Kai, was that you?
That's definitely Kai. But you know what, Babe the Blue Ox makes me think like the tour stuff, like kind of like tourist attraction.
Yeah.
That actually vibes.
That does make
Yeah.
sense.
And you have that herd of rats that you conjured in Seattle that one time to just elevate to beavers. They're in the rodent family as well.
Yeah.
Got another question.
Okay, what is it?
Sierra wants to know, where does the wind go when it's lonely?
Okay, let's see. Where does the wind go when it's lonely?
When it's
Seems like
Milk.
a Stevie Nicks album.
Milk carton full of spiders. What does that mean? Milk carton. That makes me think of like people missing.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say missing children. Isn't
Yeah.
that-
And then spiders, that makes me think of like a place that's like, abandoned and been left over. So it's like kind of like I don't know. Those are the feelings I get, I think.
Yeah, that's I can see that for sure.
The latest Ghost Story Guys episode also had to do with like a torrent of spiders or something. Maybe there's some sort of answer in that podcast episode for you.
Any other questions for the Oracle?
Oh.
Oh, American Beauty, Bag in the Wind vibes. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, so tomorrow I have an interview. I was telling Kai earlier, but I have an interview to be. I applied to be Bremerton's poet laureate here in Bremerton, and I'm meeting with them. I don't know what that means, but my question, I guess, is like, I don't know how to form that into a question. Like,
so like, how should you best prepare for your meeting tomorrow?
Right. Yeah, I'll do that. How should I best prepare? Which I've done zero preparing, but let's see.
Fake news. We talked about Mary Oliver. That's
true. Oh, this is what I put in, which was a glass bottom boat drifting over a sinkhole, which is Amber, where she grew up. There are these sinkholes that were full of natural springs, and you could take these boats out onto the water, and they had a glass bottom so you could see down in the boats.
I feel like that has very like the answer is within you vibe.
Yeah, it's weird. That's the one answer I put in of the 85.
Oh wow, so the odds were not even that big of you pulling it.
Yeah.
I'm writing a play that involves sinkholes at the moment.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Can you tell us the elevator pitch about it?
You know what? There's not really. Okay, so the part of the elevator, I guess. See, that's the thing. I don't know how to condense it at the moment because I don't even really know where it's going. But I started listening to a lot of podcasts about the body broker industry and about how sometimes, not sometimes, this does happen pretty frequently. And there's a whole second layer to this where the body broking industry also ties into like old school imperialism, and it's like really baked into British culture, but that's like a whole side quest sort of download of information. But there are all these instances in America where like I think the last big one was Harvard's medical school, where people will basically just chop bits off of cadavers that go in to be cremated and then like ship them off to whoever is willing to pay for these pieces of people. And like in Britain especially, like really easy to obtain skulls, and they are trading things like lampshades that are made out of human skin. And like it's just really like, for a while with the Harvard instant, the guy that was running the morgue for Harvard's medical school was just like letting people in at night to like obtain body parts off of these people who had donated their bodies to science, right? And so instead of their bodies getting donated to science, there was like somebody like had all these organs in a basement and like all of these like just bits off of people, right? So that's the thing that you have to be careful with if you're donating your body to science, is that you have no idea where that's actually going to end up. It's like a whole situation. But part of what I have at the moment is this woman's mother dies, and then it turns out that where she took her mother to be cremated was involved in one of these body broking situations and had in secret just basically been like shipping people's parts off to different countries and then giving like kitty litter or concrete dust or like somebody else's remains back, because that does happen all the time to people. And so in the midst of finding out that the ashes that she has from her mother may not actually be her mother's ashes, she sort of manifests a sinkhole in her backyard, and her moving through her sort of grief and trauma of that and trying to process all this information sort of manifests this sinkhole that starts to crumble in her backyard. So then she ends up focused on the sinkhole instead of on anything else going on. I only have like 40 pages done at the moment, but that's
significant. That's cool.
Yeah. Jeremy's, you're muted.
I was just saying that's fantastic. I really like
Yeah.
it. 40 pages is great.
Yeah. We'll see where we end up. It's a little. I've kept it a little bit on the lighter side, just by introducing a character or two who are slightly goofy like myself, so it doesn't feel like I'm like slogging through it at the moment. Because that was one of the things that I want it to be both serious and not so serious, because I do find that grief in a way is kind of, there's like comical elements to grief that I think that we don't embrace enough is like a culture. Like I was just, not to get like too deep off the deep end with it, but Erica and I have a friend who was murdered about 6 years ago. And I know this is a whole side conversation, but I have a couple of videos of him on my phone that I watch, and it feels like he is someone's widow in a 90s romantic drama where they watch the like dead wife like roll around like in the bed sheets or whatever, and and it's like that's what it feels to me. And I think that if he knew that I was watching him like he is someone's dead wife from a 90s video, would find that genuinely hilarious, just because that's the person that he was.
Right.
And so I find that there are a lot of pieces of that need to be embraced, but also there's just like a whole bunch of like weirdness involved in it, especially in like, that's why the body broken thing gets to me, because like then you end up asking questions like, would I be upset if my skull ended up on somebody's desk? Like I don't know.
Well, it also makes me think of like, there have been stories of people receiving a donated organ and suddenly, loving the food of the person whose organ they received and they never liked it before, or acquiring, just like seemingly like random odd bits of these donor personalities. And so like I also feel like there must be a paranormal equivalent to that, or like an afterlife equivalent to that, where like if bits of you that you thought were going to like further science end up like in some rich person's like private collection.
It comes up a lot. That the bodies exhibit that went around like a decade ago was all people who were like inmates who had like no idea that that's where their bodies went. And there's so like the questions, the moral questions about that, and then the question of like what lingers is something that really sticks with me. And then the idea, it's also because like the idea of sinkholes I find to be horrifying. And as soon as I started writing this thing about sinkholes, it was like suddenly sinkholes were everywhere again. Like I hadn't read anything about sinkholes in a while, and then I started writing, and it was like in a week there were like 3 different like sinkhole incidents. I'm obsessed with Cosmo Sheldrake, by the way, and he is playing in a couple of months. Cosmo is Rupert's son. I started listening to Cosmo not knowing that he was Rupert's son. But he's playing at the Crocodile in a couple of months. So if anybody is super weird like me and wants to stalk Rupert Sheldrake's son in a stalker capacity, because we're not going to show up at his house, he's playing a concert, okay? But like he also plays music. This is why you shouldn't just like let me lose.
I didn't know that he had another son. Because isn't his other son is Merlin Sheldrake?
Yeah.
And he wrote this amazing book on microorganisms.
Yes,
how important microorganisms are to like the function of essentially everything in the like it literally in the universe. What a good family.
Cosmo just wrote a piece of music that he wrote while he was like recording in, I think, like the Amazon rainforest. And so he actually managed to get the forest credited for the piece of music as a writer. So because the music is credited to that particular piece of like forest, they can actually give the proceeds from that piece of music to the forest, basically, from my understanding, or towards its preservation.
That's also a really interesting precedent too, because there have been a few cases led by indigenous activists, if I'm recalling correctly, to like establish the personhood of forests or certain like geographic areas. And if a forest can have a piece of music that and that's generating royalties, I feel like that like further builds up that.
Yeah. No, I think I think the whole Sheldrake. I'm obsessed with the entire Sheldrake family, like obsessed. Where was I? I was talking about sinkholes before. Sinkholes terrify me just as an idea. The fact that the ground can just sort of like open up suddenly and like swallow things. But that's why I was pairing it together, because it feels very similar to grief. Like it's very sudden and unexpected, and it's just like a hole that is there, which is why I paired those two story wise. And when you mentioned sinkholes, I was then back off in my spinning, whatever you want to call it. Sinkholes freak me out. That's the bottom line, is that I'm freaked out by sinkholes. Why are they there? I don't understand them.
I noticed Sierra had posted a question we missed, which is, why does my cat like the bathtub so much?
Let me ask. Let's see. It says fully submerged in water for 7.77 seconds. So it wants to be in the water for 7 seconds.
Also, very interesting that, oh no, cats have 9 lives, not 7 lives.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's a cat that's already used 2 of them.
Does it like being in the water? Does your cat like it? Or I had a cat growing up that would swim in our swimming pool in the morning, which is super weird.
In the pool? Like on purpose?
Yeah, it would go take a dip and swim around, come back.
I had a Siamese cat who used to get in the shower with me. Like while I was showering, he'd get in the like far end where the spray wasn't like fully hitting, but he would like hang out in there and just kind of be a weirdo. He grew out of it eventually, but
I am cat sitting for a cat now who will sit under faucets and just wait for them to turn on.
My old cat Bill not only trained everyone in my household to turn the faucet on for him, but he convinced the neighbors to let him into the house and trained them to also turn faucets on for him. Not that he didn't have a perfectly good water fountain at home that he could access whenever he wanted. He just really liked flexing that muscle.
We had one other thing we were going to talk about too. Are we feeling good about the answers, the question and answers?
Yeah, totally.
Is there a way to set it up so that you could just kind of keep it going? Like, so somebody could submit a question and it would just spit out the answer for them?
Yeah, I was thinking about trying to make something because it's really basic. So,
but what if you had a website like the old "What Should I Eat" one that was just like a magic 8-ball that essentially you just click a button and it'll spit out? Can it refresh the list from that spreadsheet of all the answers so that the answers get increasingly updated? Or like,
that's what I would just write something that would do that and push it out.
Yeah,
because I want to monitor it too. So
I was going to say, like, that's
you'd want to screen
abuse vector, as they say in the industry.
But it's so simple that I think I can make it really quickly and just have it be out there.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seemed like a fun thing. Anyway. Was there you wanted to talk about some home safety rituals?
Yes.
They're good.
Oh, yeah.
It's timely.
I have no props on hand. But I was thinking that it speaking of the things that people are talking about in the chat, it's feeling like a kind of scary world at the moment, and I happened to ash into like a little container, and I was like, oh, this could be magic. Also, you could write like things and like light those on fire and keep the ash, but like mixing just that and salt and putting it at the entrances or like the thresholds of your house with the intention of kind of keeping out anything that wants to do you or your loved ones harm from your home, and like going around and like building that kind of protective barrier, but also maybe kind of taking it to the next level and also like trying to expand that same protection to your broader home. So like your neighborhood, your home community, like however you think about that. I think it could be geographic or a lot more hypothetical. But yeah, I think I might try to do a little something like that while I go out to check the skies tonight.
Sounds like a good idea. I also so I love like your idea. I'm gonna show you one of the things that I like to use. So I have this jar full of hawthorn thorns. So I literally, when I like went out to like walk in the woods, I found a hawthorn tree, and I just harvested a bunch of the. Actually, at the time I was getting berries, but I got the whole stick, and so now it's this jar full of these like really sharp, pointy thorns, and that is like super good for protection. Not just because you could throw the jar at somebody, but but you could also burn the thorns into an ash, or powder them, or put them in places where you feel that they're like the thorns facing outward are going to be useful for you. It doesn't have to be hawthorn. I just like them because they're big and spiky. But like plant allies are really great for that kind of thing too. So, which ash actually is.
Oh.
What do you do if you live in an apartment as far as ashing goes? Like, where do you put it?
I feel like you could do it like on your windowsill. I feel like you could do it just inside the threshold of your door if you don't want it to like interfere with other people. You could also do it, I mean, heck, do it on your like near a path on your favorite like trail you hike on, or just somewhere that feels like home to you.
The thorns still give you headaches when they poke you once off the tree. I don't think I've ever experienced that. But I would be interested to hear your experience with it.
Is that a thing that people say about hawthorn?
I don't know.
I've never heard that.
I don't get headaches from getting poked, but it's not pleasant. I mean, they're sharp. They're sharp as heck. So that's another good thing about them. I mean, you can use blackberries though, like bramble. It's got that kind of bramble energy. You burn some blackberries as incense. Yeah. Well, should we? Anybody have anything else, or
did we want to talk about this weekend at all anymore?
This past weekend?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know, because we had talked about that.
Wait, what about?
About what we did, or
yeah?
Well, we did the phone booth and the mall. What else? We went to the.
When y'all were in the black, when you guys went for your walk.
Oh yeah, well yeah. So Sierra and her family and I went. Well, you guys were there a little bit, but then you had to leave. But we went to the Black River again, and I went and showed them where the Black River, which is where the oranges and all that stuff happens, and the Screaming Well. But we went and looked at where the Black River connects to the Duwamish, and we saw some river otters, which is interesting because it was something that we had talked about that day. Like Emily had brought up this otter that had broke into the zoo, and that was like eating the
it was eating the partridges.
So that was like on our mind already, and that was kind of weird. And then we saw them in the river, and they swam up the Black River, the little piece of Black River that's left. And then there's this wild, like, crows were just going bananas, like like hundreds.
It was wild.
So many when we were there.
Yeah.
Would it be accurate to say they were acting murderously?
Yes.
Yes.
It was wild. It was very wild. And when we were walking back too, we hit this one spot that was like really hot. It was just kind of weird. It was because it's pretty cold that day. And all of a sudden we hit this patch where everything was warm. It was a cool experience, but then Jeremy, something happened to you. Maybe I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah. So, well, first I want to say like it's cottonwood season, and in case you so cottonwood buds, when they blow out of the trees, they have this scent. It's just like spectacular, and they're antimicrobial, and they contain salicylic acid, so you can make an oil out of them that is really, really good for like as a salve or something, or as a carrier oil for other like first aid kind of oils, or just like in skincare products. So it's really worth getting that stuff when it's out. And there was a ton down where the oranges were. So I harvested a bunch of these cottonwood buds, and I'm going to make oil that from like the actual
Black River,
that area, and it'll sort of be like the Queen Orange, and I'll share it around, and people can use it for wonderful things. But the weirdest thing was, so Emily and Erica needed to get back to their dog, so I dropped them off at their car at the mall, and as we were leaving the oranges area, I got a call from my mother-in-law, who actually passed away 2 days after this past Christmas. The phone like rang, and it said like it had her name. It was the caller ID, and like before I could answer, I was like, "What the?" It stopped, and they didn't leave a voicemail or anything like that. And then I checked when I got home. It wasn't somebody who like accidentally butt dialed her phone or anything like that. And when in her family, in that side of the family, they sort of have this thing where when someone passes, they don't feel as though they've properly moved on until they show up in a dream. And like the night before, Emily and my wife and her sister and our kid all had a dream with her in it, but I didn't. So I'm like, was this maybe her way of like continuing that on? So
when did that happen exactly? Do you know what time it happened at?
What time? Not really.
We were on the way back to our car.
Because what I just remembered is, so when we went walking on the trail, we went to the bridge where we saw the otters. And what we were doing there is that Sierra had a dream on January 21st. She said, "I stayed at a cabin in Salem. The first night I was there, I woke up from a dream with the phrase, 'If you stack 3 oranges in the corner, the ghost will be happy.'" And so we were there putting those 3 oranges on the bridge. That's what we were delivering. I don't know. So that's an extra thing that we were doing there.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if it was coinciding with your phone call.
It was pretty soon after
you talked to me.
Probably, I don't know if there would have been like a 1-to-1
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, because we left when we left, we were still on that same road when the call came in, and Sierra and her family hadn't even arrived yet. So
okay, so it was earlier.
It was much earlier.
Yeah. So we did pile up oranges there as we got them at DK Market.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of random orange stuff that day. That was although maybe we just noticed the orange stuff more.
Right. Total all the trash that was there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was.
We should try to organize a cleanup or something.
I know. I think that's something we should do. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. That's the only thing. My only hesitation would be that it's also a lot of needles and
I
don't know if there are organizations near y'all, but there's a group in the Portland metro area called Solve, and you can reach out to them and say, hey, my group wants to organize a cleanup, and they'll actually give you the garbage bags and the picker upper grabber thingies, and then I think they come and even pick up the trash after you collect it all if you coordinate it all through with them. But I wonder if there's something similar.
I think we should. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Let's look into it. Biohazard containers. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Well, yeah, it does, look for somebody who's already doing that kind of work before trying to do it ourselves, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it's a park, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Again, the last couple times we've been there, that part of it's been pretty rough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be just the oranges and maybe a little bit of trash, but now it's pretty.
Well, it's a liminal space. That's
right.
It's probably not actually owned by that office park, but also the city's it's an easement. We don't either. We don't have to take care of it.
Right.
This is making me think of some of the early WUFO stuff when the river said that it was dirty and we should clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that could be the first step. It'd be like in Spirited Away when she pulls the bicycle out of the river spirit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have you seen that yet? Did you watch that yet, Garrett?
I haven't. I think I've seen that scene. I think you sent it to me.
I probably sent it to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I think time to go outside and go look for some aerial entities of any kind.
Yeah. This
report your findings. Yeah. And then and we have some guests coming up again. It's a couple weeks.
February is going to be a hot month here at WUFO.
Yeah. Steve Berg is coming up next. And then Amanda Paulson on the 26th.
Yeah.
And we'll have all that information on the socials. Mostly blue sky right now for me.
Right.
Yep.
So, and and if you want in on the Twin Peaks watch party, let us know so that we can make sure you're invited to the Discord.
Yeah.
And
which is now appropriately two-factored so that no punk kids hijack us ever again.
Oh dear. That whole thing sucked.
Yeah, it's it left a sour taste.
It did, yeah, it really did. It was my fault completely too. I take complete ownership over that.
No, it's not. it's that person's fault for doing
Right.
Well, yeah, but I was the one who I think was a little too fast and loose with my poking around where it shouldn't be. I think I might have like made somebody angry accidentally,
Oh.
but it was related to my job.
Oh.
I can't-
And then they like came after you. Yeah.
They somehow traced me there, and that was that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was annoying.
Oh, Alex, I bet that was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Discord did like nothing. They
No.
responded. They didn't respond at all. Like zero help.
No, they're terrible for that.
So that's made me like not interested in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I wouldn't trust them as like my main
Right.
thing.
But for this, I think it's a good. We can use it for this Twin Peaks thing. And
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
we're a little more locked down. So
yeah. Okay.
all right. Well, I hope everybody has a great night.
Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves. Protect your homes.
And go touch grass.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.